Hello, and welcome to the Big Idea Center's informational session for the 2024 Big Idea Competition. My name is Jessica Malandro, and I am the manager for student programs and operations here at the Big Idea Center. If you didn't know, the Big Idea Center is Pitt's hub for student innovation and entrepreneurship, and our physical space is located at 3601 Forbes Avenue in Oakland, and we are open Monday through Friday from the hours of 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And obviously, those hours are affected by breaks here at the university, but on a normal week, we are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Anyway, today we are going to go over details related to this year's competition, including important dates and application requirements, as well as basic logistics related to teams, scoring, and prizes. Everything you need to know about the 2024 Big Idea Competition will be in this informational session and will also be available to you in written form at our website, bigidea.pitt.edu. So we'll go ahead and get started. Before we get into our core content of today's presentation, I wanted to make sure to introduce the Big Idea Center team. Again, I am Jess Malandro. I take care of the organization and implementation of our programs, such as the Big Idea Competition, as well as am responsible for operations related to our center space, the Big Idea Center programs throughout the year, and more. I'm also joined by Ryan Skelton, Tiffany Rice, and our director, Rhonda Schuldt. Throughout the competition, you will typically be hearing from either our student programs and operations administrator Ryan Skelton or myself about competition details, scheduling, and resources. While those are the two names you might see the most, please make sure to keep a lookout for emails from any of us that you see on the screen here. If you have any questions about what exactly it is that each of us do, what we're responsible for, you can visit our website. Or if you have any confusion about who to go to for certain items, just send me an email and I can get you routed to the right person. We're also joined by 4 rotating entrepreneurs in residence, and I'll talk about them a little bit later on in this presentation. So, what is the Big Idea Competition? This competition has been around since 2009 and is one of the reasons that the Big Idea Center exists. As you can see, we share a name. Since 2009, the competition has grown to be one of the largest student innovation competitions in the region, and it is certainly the largest offering of its kind here at Pitt. But it is also unique in that it is at its core an experience-based learning opportunity for all of those who choose to participate. What does that mean? Well, we provide teams access to entrepreneurs in residence and learning resources that are meant to help you grow throughout each stage of the competition. Finalist teams, if you make it that far, will be matched with a competition mentor. You will receive feedback at each stage meant to help you develop further prior to presenting for the $25,000 top prize. All of this is with the express goal of giving you more to walk away with than just money. This is your opportunity to develop as an individual, as a team, and as an idea. I should say now as well that this competition is geared heavily towards teams who come in with existing ideas that they have been working on prior to the time of application. That could be a few weeks or a longer term project, but we do want to make sure that your team has a solid idea of what they would like to work on throughout this experience. A unique aspect to this competition is that it is open to Pitt students of all levels and disciplines. You don't have to be from a particular school or department to participate. We have had students from medicine, engineering, arts and sciences, business, and others compete in years past. Undergrads will be competing with graduate students and PhDs and postdocs, but don't let that intimidate you. We've also had students from all levels go on to win the entire thing. For example, last year in 2023, our grand prize winning team was an undergraduate team. So you still got a chance. You just got to work hard. At the end of the day, this competition is about more than just the money. $25,000 is insignificant in the grand scheme of things. This competition is about you and your ideas and how we can help you achieve your goals long after your time at the University of Pittsburgh is over. We do want to provide you with a little bit of information on how this year's competition will be administered. There will still be virtual components for some portions of this program. For example, the semifinal round presentations and finalist informational session, those will be held over Zoom. But we are trying to utilize our new space along with campus resources to allow students to interact, bring back that live pitching element for our final round, as well as allow for in-person interaction with judges and staff, which we have found to be so important in the past. The final point on this slide is one that I will continue to emphasize throughout the remainder of this session. Our primary method of communicating with students throughout the entirety of this competition is through email. It is important, if you are going to choose to participate, that you are consistently checking your email for messages from Ryan, Tiffany, Rhonda, or myself for Zoom meetings, in-person location updates, competition logistics, and other important information. It is also important that you read each email that you're sent thoroughly. That is my warning to you all now. Success in this competition hinges on the details, and those details will be in writing, and they will be sent to all participating members of your team via email. Please, 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 please read your emails. A little bit about teams. We need to get some housekeeping out of the way. What you see on your screen are the requirements for all teams that wish to participate in the Big Idea competition. These requirements are the same for pretty much all of our competitions. If you participated in the Kuznetsky Innovation Cup in the fall, you are familiar with these points. All team members need to be registered with our staff. We have an application portal available that everyone will need to fill out individually. Read the application carefully and fill it out accordingly. Your application is not considered complete until all participating team members fill it out. We are going to be more strict on this point this year. Read the application carefully and make sure to complete it to the best of your ability. This competition is a program built for Pitt students. While we recognize that there is a rich culture of student innovation and entrepreneurship throughout the city of Pittsburgh and in other schools in the area, and we love to see that, this particular competition is geared toward teams that are led by University of Pittsburgh students. That does not mean that students from other schools or other affiliated groups cannot participate. They certainly can assist on your team and act as active members of your team, but members of your team that are not current Pitt students currently enrolled at the University of Pittsburgh, and that is undergrad through postdoc, may not present on behalf of your team or win a portion of any of the potential prizes. If you have any questions about your team or eligibility, please send a member of our Big Idea Center staff an email. We would be happy to clear up any points that you see on the screen right now. And then this last point. You must have at least 2 current Pitt students on your team actively participating. It is important that you start building out your team now. If you do not fit this requirement or any of the requirements listed above, you will not make it past the initial application phase of this year's competition. We have a team finder tool on our website that can be helpful for matching individuals to teams, and we boost those postings on our social media and in our newsletter. Again, if you have any questions about this requirement, please reach out to a member of Big Idea Center staff. I'll have all these links that I reference, all these web pages that I reference in the description of the video so that you can easily reference them at a later date. A little bit about this year's awards. What you see before you is a breakdown of the prize levels and what you might be able to win. I will leave that up for a moment for you to read. Again, any potential prizes will be split equally among the current Pitt students on your team. All right, we want to also let you know now that first and second prize winning teams are required to participate in the Summer Blast Furnace Accelerator Program. This is a virtual program held throughout the summer months, and it is intended to be a next step to your progress in the Big Idea competition. It is open to all teams by application, but our first and second place teams will need to attend in order to receive the second half of their winnings. The first half will be given to teams upon completion of the competition, the second half upon completion of the Blast Furnace Accelerator Program. We have worked very hard to make this program accessible for those working or staying off campus in between spring and fall. If it is your opportunity really to continue your work on your idea in a more in-depth way, take what you learned in the Big Idea competition, and now you're in the phase of applying it in a more advanced way. More information about Blast Furnace will be emailed to teams at a later date. We'll make that information available to everybody who is participating in the competition. Important competition links. You'll want to visit these locations for more information on the competition, as well as the Big Idea Center. As I mentioned before, I'm going to put any links that I talk about in this presentation in the description of this video. Remember, though, to save them in some way, bookmark them for future reference, especially as we get closer to the application deadline, which is February 11th, 2024. That will be a hard deadline, and we do not anticipate any extensions or exceptions to be made. Please save that date. February 11th, 2024, the application deadline for the 2024 Big Idea competition. And again, if you need a quick reference to the link to get to the Big Idea competition application, you can look in the description of this video. It's also going to be readily available on our Big Idea Center website, the bigidea.pitt.edu. We do want to go over some competition dates now. The lineup for this year's competition does look a bit different than last year. We will have 3 separate phases of the competition, which will involve 2 cuts for teams. I'm going to give you all of these year's dates now so that you have them at your disposal. Put these in your calendar, especially if you plan on making it to the final round in April. These are dates that you will need to be available for. They are crucial to the competition and are required for teams that make it through each of these phases. So make sure you have these written down somewhere. They will be made available on the website as well. So what you see on your screen is considered phase 1. This will consist of your initial team application, which is a little bit bigger and more thorough than in past years, and that's going to be due by midnight on February 11th, 2024. Also, so you are aware, the application does include a required 60 to 90 second recorded elevator pitch video, and you can submit that via the portal on our application page. It also consists of some short answer questions that you'll want to put some thought into. Again, telling you now so that you are aware. Applications are due in February. It's December. Please make sure that you start thinking about this now and not, February 10th or February 11th for that matter. So you've applied. Now, the week of February 12th begins. And what happens during the week of February 12th? Well, we send your application to the review committee. So that Monday through Sunday, your application and your team folder is going to be sent to those folks who are going to review your application. They're going to take a look at your team folders and assist us with initial scoring. And from there, we are going to select our semifinalist group. You will hear if you made it to that semifinal round by the end of the day on February 19th via email. We will let you know if for whatever reason we need to extend this particular notification day. But for now, this is when we aim to notify all teams of their status in the competition so that you have adequate time to prepare for semifinal presentations, which we will talk about now. On to phase 2. If you make it to this stage of the competition, you are considered a semifinalist team. You've made it past the initial application submission and review and are now ready to start thinking about the virtual presentation round. And that round will take place on March 1st over Zoom. You see the time frame on your screen here, but your team will only be responsible for about 15 to 30 minutes of that day. So you'll have a 15-minute time slot, but you should be prepared for some time before and after, just in case the rooms are running early or over, things happen. Anyway, you'll have that 15-minute time slot and you'll schedule that with our team. More information will come out about how that is going to work during the week of February 19th. I'll have details later on in this presentation about what you'll need to prepare for that day. But we are also going to make a resource page available to all semifinalist teams with that information when the time comes. Teams will hear about whether or not they make it to the final phase of the competition, phase 3, on March 4th. Again, if we need more time for that notification, we will let you know. But the goal is to let you know about your status in the competition on that date, March 4th, in order to give you more time between when we tell you about a presentation round and when you actually present. All right, so what happens if you receive an acceptance on March 4th? That would mean that you made it to the final phase of the competition, phase 3. You'd be considered a finalist team. And along with your acceptance, you will be matched with a competition mentor. We are going to evaluate mentor backgrounds. Those will be industry professionals from throughout the area, maybe even beyond. Who knows? Virtual capabilities have allowed us to expand that mentor pool. Anyway, we'll evaluate their backgrounds and we will match them with team ideas. And we hopefully will find a good match for you as you work on your idea for the next month. They're an additional resource to our entrepreneurs in residence, as well as our staff, that you can rely on for a little bit more advice as you prepare for your final presentation. Anyway, just know that mentor matching will take place on March 4th. That same week, we will be hosting a required finalist informational session over Zoom. You can see that on your screen there. And we will go over finalist information. You'll receive that important info along with final round presentation requirements. And we will talk a little bit more about the judging criteria, as well as connect with you, and you can talk to competition staff about any questions you have going into the next phase of the competition. This is just so that we can get you all on the same page as we send you off for the next month to prepare your final presentations for that final presentation day of April 5th. As you can see here, in between March 7th and April 5th, we will be hosting 2 competition prep days at the Big Idea Center during our normal operating hours of 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And those will take place on March 20th and 27th. You can stop by the Big Idea Center. We have a coffee shop in our lobby, Saxby's Coffee, and you can use our space to work on your idea. Big Idea Center staff will be available on site to answer any questions or provide guidance. If you just need a quiet place to work, we have that too. Private meeting rooms will be made available to teams on a first come, first served basis. Skipping ahead, final presentations will be live and in person on April 5th. We are working on pitch locations currently. Portions will most likely take place at the Big Idea Center, but we do realize our space has limitations and we may need to expand to other buildings in order to maximize the pitch experience for teams. As with the semifinal round, you do not need to keep this entire time frame available on that day. You will be selecting a 30-minute pitch slot with our team closer to the date. Well, it's a 20-minute pitch slot, but budget the 30-minute time so that you can get here, get settled, and then we can get you into your room. A specific email on scheduling your final round pitch, as well as scheduling your mandatory one-on-one interview with our director, Rhonda Schuldt, will be going out the week of March 18th. You will need to be on the lookout for that. And speaking of the one-on-one interviews, I got so excited about the final presentation round that I blew right past it. All finalist teams will be required to meet with Rhonda Schuldt prior to the final presentation round, and those will take place specifically on the week of March 25th. This is an opportunity for our Big Idea Center staff to gather some final details and evaluate your progress in the competition so far. Again, we will schedule those along with the final round pitches during the week of March 18th. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to clear anything up for you during that time or even over email leading up to that point. Okay, I know that was a lot of information. If you have any questions about competition dates or the time commitment, please let me know. Again, we want to be as transparent about the competition dates and the time commitment as possible now so that you can be prepared for the months of February, March, and April. I know that seems far away now, but trust me, I know all too well, the application deadline will be here before you know it. And before we move on, I also need to tell you about how you can find out about who won the Big Idea competition. All teams from all stages of the competition and even from throughout the year are invited to join us at our end of the year celebration at the Big Idea Center on April 11th. We want to highlight all teams and individuals and all that they have accomplished in our center from throughout the entire academic year. You'll have the opportunity to meet other students involved in our center, engage with industry professionals that support our programs, as well as find out who won each of our prize tiers for the 2024 Big Idea competition. We have a lot to celebrate from 2023 and 2024, and we invite you to this special event to celebrate with us. Save the date, April 11th, Big Idea Center. More information and specifics will come out later on, closer to the date. Now that you have your competition dates, let's talk logistics. At the Big Idea Center, we are joined by 4 rotating entrepreneurs in residence, and these are industry professionals who provide their time to students who are looking for one-on-one coaching, idea advice, connections. Our EIRs, and I say this a lot because it's true, are one of our greatest resources at the Big Idea Center, and we simply could not do what we do without them. We're a small staff, so we rely on them for a lot. Each of the individuals you see on the screen has their own unique background and set of skills that you can read about by visiting our website. Again, that link will be in the description below. But I wanted to let you know all about this because they will be available for one-on-one appointments throughout the competition. This is in addition to our resource content, and for finalist teams, the competition mentor, they are free resources for you to get the most out of this experience. Again, they're separate from your competition mentor. This is Big Idea Center entrepreneurs and residents who you can call on throughout all stages of the competition. They are free resources for you to get the most out of this experience. You can go over your pitch, get a second opinion on your revenue model maybe. They can provide guidance on completing effective customer discovery, or just be a sounding board for any idea pivots that you make throughout the competition. If you make any pivots, you are strongly, strongly, strongly encouraged to meet with one or more of our EIRs throughout the competition. We believe that you need additional opinions in order to be successful. We've seen it time and time again. Teams that are the most successful beyond the walls of this competition have and continue to use our EIRs as resources for their team and idea. So take advantage of this time and their knowledge. The link on the screen is to our EIR page. Again, I'll put it in the description of this video. Visit the link, read the EIR bios, select the one that might be a good fit for your team, and make an appointment. What do you have to lose? Ooh, I promised that I would continue to repeat this point. Email is so important throughout this process. Our staff emails are on the screen. You can reach out, ask us questions, or request meetings, but the main reason I put those up is so that you know what names to look out for in your inbox. Watch out for Jess Malandro, that's me, Ryan Skelton, Tiffany Rice, and Rhonda Schuldt. Important emails will be coming from all of us. Just saying you can't schedule a pitch if you deleted the email or it went to your spam. So please keep an eye on and let us know if you're not receiving any of the information that you think you should be. So we often get questions about intellectual property throughout our competitions. I cannot say much in this format because this type of advice is most effective when discussing the individual needs and concerns of each team. But what I can tell you is this. We are not asking you to give us all of the proprietary information associated with your idea. To be successful in this competition, you need to be able to tell us what you are pitching and why it is important, not how you accomplish this with a secret ingredient or a tech component that no one else has. That is your information to protect. So do not disclose your secret sauce. That is our saying here at the Big Idea Center. If you have any questions about intellectual property and what that means for your team or idea, I highly encourage you to reach out to an EIR or a member of competition staff. Now on to the fun stuff. How do you win? Each of our competition rounds will have a group of judges assigned to evaluate the effectiveness of your idea as it relates to important startup and innovation concepts. They will hear your pitch, ask you questions related to what they heard, and provide scores and feedback accordingly. The criteria is on the screen in front of you. We like to make this clear at the very beginning. All teams are asked to present their idea within this framework. You need to be able to talk about your idea and why it is important. We talk about problem and solution all the time in our programs. Describe the problem that exists, what your solution is, and why that solution is necessary in today's market. You need to be able to talk about who your customers are and prove to us that those customers exist. Who is going to buy your product or service? This next point is important as well. What solutions already exist and why is your product or service better than what is readily available to consumers? How do you make money? And last but not least, who are you? Talk about your team and why you are the right people for the job. This competition is about ideas, yes, but it is also about you and your story. Why are you here? Tell us about it. So that's a little bit about our judging criteria. This will also be made available in a more in-depth format on our resource pages. That information will be given to teams as they begin applying. So just keep an eye out for that. And if you have any questions, please let us know. We are so close to the end, I promise. But I did want to let you know about the presentation rounds and the requirements throughout the competition, what we are asking you to prepare essentially. Again, this is excuse me. Again, this is in an effort to be transparent of what we are asking of you and your team before you even apply. So, upon initial application, Again, the deadline is February 11th. You will need to submit a 60 to 90-second elevator pitch of your idea. That's not the only piece of the application, but it is a very important element. If you have trouble with the submission portal, you can email your video link or file to jmalandro@innovation.pitt.edu. Any applications without an elevator pitch will be considered incomplete, and those teams will not make it to the next phase of the competition. Next up, for those who make it to the semifinal round, you will need to prepare a 5-minute presentation with slides for your time slot on March 1st. So you've done your elevator pitch, no slides, 60 to 90 seconds, and now this is your semifinal round pitch, 5 minutes with slides. You are going to present via Zoom, so make sure you are aware of how to use that software for presenting. It's interesting that I feel like I have to say that, but we are starting to get a couple of years past when we last had a virtual presentation round for a competition. Practice, ask us questions, come prepared to pitch day ready to present, and participate in that live Q&A over Zoom. Lastly, we have our final round presentations on April 8th. You'll see a pattern. We start to get longer in our pitches as we go through the competition. So there are longer time slots allowing time for that longer presentation, and that's 10 minutes instead of 5, and a more in-depth Q&A session. Again, 10 minutes with slides followed by a Q&A session with the judges. For each of these presentation rounds, be sure to utilize the resources at your disposal to prepare. You should meet with entrepreneurs in residence or your competition mentor. You should practice your pitch in front of people who are not on your team. You should seek out additional resources if you are unsure, and you should ask questions. Again, telling you this now so that you know the requirements early and have time to prepare. The aim is to have nobody be able to say that all of these details were not made clear prior to application. We're working really, really hard to do that for you this year. So I'm going to take a deep breath. We can all take a moment and absorb everything we just heard. This video recording will be available for you to refer back to. You can send it to other members of your team if you want them to also have the information. Also, our competition staff will be available for you if you have any questions. All of the important links and contact information is in the description of this video. We do try to be as open as possible about each of our competitions. Please send me an email directly if you have any questions about this informational session, the competition, or anything Big Idea Center related. Honestly, reach out. It is better than feeling like you are going through this heavy 2-month competition alone. All right. Between now and February 11th, the application deadline for the Big Idea competition, we encourage you to stay involved. Follow us at Pitt Big Idea for program updates, as well as news related to the innovation scene, not just at Pitt, but throughout the city of Pittsburgh. If you have never engaged with our center before, we also encourage you to reach out to us by filling out our Get Started form. This is a low-level way of starting the process of communication and networking. We can get you pointed in the right direction that is most appropriate for you, where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, wherever that might be. I also talked about our EIRs a lot during this session. I'll keep saying it until my face is blue. They are such a great resource, and they are free to you. Not free to us at the center, we pay them, but free to you now while you are a student. Please use them as resources as you continue to build out your ideas. And use us. The Big Idea Center space is at your disposal, and so is our staff. Again, on a typical week, we are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. to the public. Stop by and introduce yourself. We love to interact with students and get to know people who are interested in innovation and entrepreneurship. And with that, we finished today's info session. The links that I talked about throughout this entire presentation will be made available to you in the description of this video. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me throughout this presentation. We are so excited to host this competition for yet another year and to see what you all have been working on. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us or stop by the Big Idea Center during normal operating hours. See you in February, and hail to Pitt.